everyone, it's Julian, and today I'm going to be making a somewhat darker techno track from scratch. So, yeah, let's dive in. And I'm going to be giving away the project file, whatever I end up with at the end of this, for free in the description. So make sure you check that out if you like what you hear. And yeah, here we go. So, I'm going to start with a kick, and I kind of want to try something a little bit different. We're at 130 BPM. I have this Vengeance Essential Club Sounds. I want to try using one of these kind of like kicks, but like in techno, and it's frozen. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like this kind of sound is sort of coming back, and like it does work very well for techno because you're able to get like a really sort of like hard hitting kick like this. That's like a really powerful hit, you know, especially if you were like in a club and you were listening to this. Like, it's one thing on studio monitors, but it's definitely something else if you were listening to this like in a club. So, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make like a bass of some sort, because this is cool, but it doesn't have the kind of bass that we want. So, I actually have this pack that I dropped. I'm going to link it in the description. It's called Techno Essentials, and it has a bunch of these. So, it has like these little bass things here. And you can see they just kind of go like that, so it sort of like bounces off of the kick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this third one here. And I'm going to, so I unwarped it, and I'm going to just make it a quarter note in length. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put a little fade at the end there. And we'll put one at the start, why not? And yeah, that way it'll go smoothly when we loop it like this. So now we should have a pretty solid little thing going here. Okay, sorry about that. I had to turn my speakers up. But yeah, that sounds pretty cool. Awesome. So, the next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to try to make some kind of like a percussive sound or something. I had this idea to take like some vinyl noise and try using that for percussion. Because if you listen to vinyl noise, like that first sample that just played a second ago, if you listen, like, there's a lot of cool little random kind of things, and it can kind of be a nice way to get like a weird sort of percussion that isn't necessarily like just, you know, super straightforward and like what you always hear. So I'll just make a little pattern here. Let's do like this. Okay, that's cool. And then we'll make that one a little bit shorter. Alright, there we go. It's a pretty basic pattern, but I mean, it's just something to start with. Alright, so let's work with this a little bit. So I'm going to change this from a simpler into a sampler, and we're going to convert it to mono, because there's some weird stereo stuff. That tends to be the case with these kinds of things. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to experiment with this oscillator in sampler. Now this could sound terrible, I don't know, but we'll see. But the cool thing is, you can create like some weird kind of FM sounds with this. And it's a little bit different from just working with FM synthesis where you have like, you know, 2 sine waves or anything like that, because you're working with this. So there's a lot of kind of unexpected things that happen. So this is kind of cool. We can also do AM, but I'm not really into that. Alright, and I'm going to put a little bit of this pitch envelope on as well. There's the amount. Because we can make it a little bit more percussive with that. I'm sure you guys who have watched my videos know this, but like, yeah, you can make sounds very percussive by using a pitch envelope, because it makes like sort of a click at the start of the sound. And yeah, so I guess the next thing I'll do here is let's get an echo. I would maybe use like ping pong delay or something, but I like using echo when I'm doing like techno and stuff because it tends to have that kind of like interesting character to it that I like. So what I'm going to do is I actually wanted to try doing these as like 2 different sort of settings. Like I'm going to do 16th notes on the left ear and then dotted 16th notes on the right ear. And what this is going to do is it's going to create a more stereo effect, or it's going to make it a little bit wider, I guess. Awesome, that sounds really cool. So let's get some hi-hats next. I'm going to just make something an operator. I tend to like, especially when I'm working with techno, and you guys who have seen my videos know this for sure, But I tend to like to work with like synthesizing my own hi-hats when I'm doing techno and stuff because I don't know, it's like since this kind of music is so like, you know, machine-like and stuff, I think it sounds pretty cool. And also, you have like a wider range of stuff to work with, and it's a little bit easier to get kind of like cool things. So we have this. Let's try adding a filter envelope. There we go. That's just a little bit clickier, and it's not just like the same basic kind of 808 hi-hat you would hear in like a lot of techno tracks. Alright, there we go. The bass wasn't quite loud enough actually, so I just turned everything else down. It's a good approach because, you know, like I think a lot of times your first instinct would be like, oh, it's not loud enough, let me turn it up. But as you can see, this is already pretty high in volume, so I just turned everything else down so it will become louder. And yeah, okay, so let's make an open hi-hat. So I have this white noise, and I'll just make basically like a similar thing, just some white noise going into a bandpass. That was probably way too much release. There we go. Now let's get this bandpass going. I'll turn up some resonance. Nice. Yeah, that's pretty good. And then I'm gonna put the notes in here and then start sort of like tweaking the filter more, cause I think that is gonna be just a little bit more fruitful. Okay, cool. So let's turn this down a little bit. Alright, so this sounds pretty good. I might do a little bit more to this open hi-hat. Maybe we could like give it some more resonance. Just kind of play with the filter a little bit. Alright, that's pretty good. So the next thing I think I'm going to do is make like some kind of a 303 sound. So I'm going to just let's use analog. I typically use analog for 303 style sounds because the filter is really juicy sounding. But I just turned off the second oscillator. We're just going to use oscillator 1. Let's set this to be kind of like something like that. That's pretty good. And then, this is very quiet. Alright, sometimes you just gotta turn it up loud so you can hear it, and then I'll turn it down once I actually, like, put it into the track. But anyway. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. So we're just using the filter here with a bit of resonance, and I'm gonna set the envelope a little bit better. There we go. And honestly, sometimes when I'm trying to do this, I end up with a sound that isn't even really like very 303-esque, but it's just like a cool bass sound, and that's fine. Like, I'm just going for something interesting here. So let's get a saturator now. And I'm gonna just kinda like work with this a little bit more. I might go into let's use the wave shaper. Why not? That was loud. Alright, so we can take the wave shaper and kinda like make this, it helps get it a little closer, as you can hear, because we can make it kind of like juicier. And it's cool. Like, again, we're not necessarily even going for like the most realistic 303 sound. We just want like a cool and sort of like more modern one, I guess. So let's put in some notes with that. Usually with these, I'd go honestly pretty sparse. And I actually have an idea for how this is going to play into like another percussion thing after this. So, yeah. Alright, that's pretty cool. Yeah, let's just do that. It's pretty basic, but again, this is going to be sort of like a call and response thing with this percussion that I have an idea for. So, the last thing I'm going to do with this is I think I'm going to get actually an auto pan. I'm going to set up like sort of a fake sidechain. The reason why I'm not sidechaining this actually to the cake is just because this cake does kind of have a bit of a tail if you look at the waveform, and I think it's going to sound weird with sidechaining, so yeah, we'll just use auto pan. So basically what I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn the phase down to 0, and we're going to set the rate to quarter notes. And then after that, we're going to switch this to a saw wave, turn the amount all the way up, for now at least, and then we'll turn this normal switch and invert it. So now, we have like kind of a side chain. So it's cool. It's a nice way to give your sounds kind of like that sound without, again, like having to rely on a kick that may or may not be the best for side chaining. Alright, let me make this a little bit more sparse, actually. I'm going to just do this. Yeah, that's cool. So let's put a little bit of reverb on that, and then I think I'm going to move forward. So I'll just get this reverb here. And we'll put it maybe a little bit more decay time. And we can even put it before the saturator. Sometimes that can sound cool. In this case, I don't know. But I think that's pretty solid. And it's cool too because we don't really have a lot of like super atmospheric elements going on here. So this, combined with the thing I'm about to do with percussion, I think are going to be some cool elements. So yeah, so let's get like one last thing in here. I'm going to get a 909 rim shot. I'm just going to use the one from the Ableton library. That's pretty good. And yeah, what I'm going to do here is I'm actually just going to use it for like one shot here, like literally just there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bunch of reverb on that, and it's going to just kind of be like in the background. And this is definitely very popular in techno, like, you know, percussion like this that just sort of takes up a little quick space like that. I know I say this a lot if you watch my videos frequently, but it's like punctuation. It's like, you know, you have the words that are in your sentence, and then you have, you know, like your like little things, and then you have this extra stuff, which is more of just like I said, it's just like punctuation. It's like a period or a comma or anything like that just sort of adds a little bit more depth to your writing in that case, or your music in this case. Nice, and we're not clipping. I actually thought it would be by this point. So I think that's going to be it for this video, guys. Like I said, you can get this project file. I'm going to put it in the description for free, so make sure to check that out. And make sure to check out my social media, which is on the screen right now. Thank you again, everybody, for watching this video. Make sure to like this video, as well as subscribe, and let me know what you think in the comments. And I will see you again tomorrow with another tutorial.